Baby, seriously, this isn't funny. Jeez, God! Baby!
Hello, survivors, and welcome to Survivor's Guild, part of the Mutant Fam Horror Consortium, a community of like-minded individuals working together to create content and build relationships by and for fans of the genre. Go check out the mutantfam.com website and browse through the numerous podcasts, video creators, and merch shops featured on the sites. Follow them on social media and consume some of the great content that these ladies and gentlemen are working hard to create. Now, I hope you guys like human entrails that have been sitting in the temperate climate of West Virginia for 17 years, because this movie is getting spoiled. Today, we are taking a look at 2003's Wrong Turn, a shockingly well-done slasher that dissolved into schlocky nonsense towards the end of the series. Let's see if keeping track of the survival stats makes me like these movies more or less. Wrong Turn, released in 2003, directed by Rob Schmidt, and written by Alan McElroy, Alan Mick, his boy Elroy, starring Eliza Dushku, Jeremy Sisto, Emmanuel Shrieky, Desmond Harrington, Kevin Zegers, and Lindy Booth. Wrong Turn is about a group of hot 20-somethings that get lost in the backwoods of West Virginia and get hunted down by a gaggle of inbred cannibals. Oh shoot, that's offensive? Alright. Wrong Turn is about a group of respectable young adults who get stranded in the vast wilderness of West Virginia and get hunted down by a family of thoroughbred anthropophagi. Wait, is cannibal hate speech now? Whatever. We open up on Richie and his lady Haley climbing a cliff. Richie gets to the top of the cliff first because men are stronger than... Okay, because Haley let him win. Haley, seeing fit to aid the patriarchy, then begs Richie to pull her up. But Richie wants Haley to prove to herself that she is a strong, independent woman who doesn't need a man to help her climb to the top. Oh wait, shoot, no, he's just dead. And after the backwoods bullies chuck Richie's body off the cliff, I mean, come on, we've all wondered what it would be like to do that, Haley then finds herself in a dilemma when the mystery murderers start messing around with her line. So she cuts the rope, but when she reaches out for another line, she loses her grip and lands next to Richie's body. But it's not time for a reunion, so she takes off toward their vehicle, only to trip over some barbed razor wire. And if there is any weapon of choice that these corrupted cannibals, it's barbed razor wire. And so Haley becomes number 2 on our menu. And that's 2 kills before the credits even roll. Flash forward to meet Chris, who is on his way to some sort of interview, but due to an accident up ahead is going to have to turn around. Was it the wrong turnaround? Who's to say? So he ends up at a gas station with an unhelpful attendant, and after having no luck with the phone, since his died, or lost service or something, he checks out the map to find an alternative way to the interstate to get around the wreck. While traveling down this dirt road, he spots a dead deer that looks kinda shady, and keeps an eye on it in case it tries to pickpocket him. But his eyes would have been better fixed on the road, because he slams into the back of a vehicle parked on the side of the road. Enter the rest of our survival stats, aka Meat Bank, Carly and Scott, and Francine and Evan. It wrong turns out that the car he hit is Francine's mom's car, and it also wrong turns out that they blew their tires driving over some well-placed barbed razor wire, which Jesse just discovered was strategically placed. So Jesse, Chris, Scott, and Carly start walking to see if they can find a phone, while Evan and Francine stay back with the cars to get high and to get dirty. While the other 4 take a walk, we learn that Chris was in medical school, and that Scott and Carly are engaged and planning a wedding. And we learn from Evan and Francine that Jessie got dumped and her friends brought her on a camping trip to help her feel better. Nothing like being a fifth wheel on a camping trip to make yourself feel better about being alone. Meanwhile, at the scene of the accident, Evan is looking for something to eat, while Francine rifles through Chris's stuff. And when Evan hears a noise, he goes to check it out. And when Francine realizes that Evan is no longer around, she goes to check it out. But as it wrong turns out, she only finds part of him, and we won't be hearing from him anymore. Wink, wink. Because it's his ear that she found. And Evan lands at number 3 on our platter, followed quickly by Francine at number 4. We're gonna cut over to the 4 remaining crew. The situation's getting dire. As the Fab Four stumble upon, crumbling shack, cars scattered in the yard, probably roadkill on the table. Did they walk to Florida or something? The 4 enter the house because they are in a horror movie and begin to discover horror movie things, like a filthy house, a bunch of sets of car keys, sharp objects, a room completely full of people's belongings, until they find enough clues to solve the mystery. Jesse finds a bundle of barbed razor wire, Chris finds some refrigerators filled with human parts and organs, and Carly finds a bathtub with human remains in it, namely a human hand. But as they go to leave the house, its owners pull up in their tow truck with Francine's and Chris's cars. So Chris and Jesse hide under the table while Carly and Scott hide in the closet. And while Chris and Jesse watch the homeowner's feet, Francine drops down and she's surprised to see them. Oh no, never mind, she's dead too. And the three Killbillies, Three Fingers, Sawtooth, and One Eye, begin digging into Francine's corpse, much to the dismay of Carly, who's watching through the keyhole in the closet door. Sometime later, while the Killbillies are taking a nap, because killing and dismembering people is so damn exhausting, the four try to make a break for it. Unfortunately, Chris, being the last one to make his escape, ends up waking them up before he can leave. And he runs to catch up with the others, while the Killbillies prepare to hunt. The group then runs into a graveyard, a car graveyard, where the Killbillies ditch their victims' vehicles. And unfortunately for our current survivors, the Killbillies show up and they're on the hunt. The four create a plan revolving around one person distracting the Billies, while the remaining three steal the truck that they left running. Chris volunteers as tribute, but makes a real mess of things when he gets shot in the leg, causing Scott to pick up the slack and re-distract the cannibals.
I'll meet you there. I love you.
When the Killbillies lock on to their new target, the three bring their plan to reality when they make it to the still running truck, only to have Evan's dead body drop out when they open the door. One for the road, I guess? But there is no time to mourn now. They need to catch up with their buddy Scott, who is still running from the Billies. As the three drive around looking for Scott, they finally spot him, and he begins to make his way towards the truck. Sadly, our expert anthropophagi, Archer, snuffs out Scott's life just a few feet away from safety.
What's wrong? Scott! Scott! No!
Making Scott number 5 on our plate. And our 3 survivors have no choice but to hit the gas and get out of there. After driving for some time, the survivors come to a blockage in the road that they just can't get around. And the truck then gets stuck, so they have no choice but to ditch the cannibal car and start walking. And after Chris nearly steps on a trap, we catch back up with our Killbillies, Sawtooth, One Eye, and Three Finger, who are searching the wilderness for their fast food. The remaining 3 find a watchtower and decide to head up to the top to see if they can find a road. Unfortunately, all they can see is the vast wilderness in every direction. But they do find a radio and attempt to call for help, just in time for the Killbillies to show up and pester our crew. And when they can't break the tower's defenses, our primitive pyros set fire to the tower, leading our leads to find a different way out. They each take turns jumping to the nearest tree. Luckily, this movie doesn't have fall damage, so they're all okay. But the brutish butchers don't let up and immediately start firing arrows at our survivors while Three Fingers starts climbing the tree. The 3 try to cross over to the next tree, but when Carly backs away from the tightrope walk across the branches, she backs right up onto our list in what is probably the most memorable and most creative kill in the movie. And that tumbling body lands at number 6 on our body buffet. With no time to lose, our remaining 2 put a plan into action to make Three Fingers lose traction and get him out of the trees. And the plan works flawlessly. Our 2 survivors then find a nice cozy waterfall to hide in for the night. And this is where we find out that Jesse's friends were bringing her on the camping trip to forget about her bad breakup. The next morning, Jesse and Chris start to hike in the search of safety and stumble upon a road, only for the Killbillies to catch up with them.
I can't believe it.
How are we gonna get you down?
I'll get down here.
Chris takes a nasty punch to the face, followed by a nasty fall down the hillside, while Jesse gets kidnapped by our killers. But, in a wrong turn of events, this ranger dude has something in his eye.
From the fire tower, I've been looking all over
Please
for
shut
you.
up and listen. People are dead.
Dead? What people?
Oh, shoot, that's an arrow, giving us our 7th helping of our main course. And when Chris can't start the truck without the keys, he hides under the truck instead, and then makes a swift escape back into the foliage. Sawtooth loads his next snack into the vehicle, and quick-thinking Chris hitches a ride on the underside of the Anthropophagus Archer's newly acquired automobile. Back at the Hillbilly Hell House LLC, Jessie is all seasoned and ready to be butchered. One-Eye keeps her company while they await the arrival of Sawtooth and their stowaway. And after Sawtooth brings home the dead trooper, he heads into the house to prepare Jessie for dinner, and Chris starts a diversion. Whoa, that's one hell of a diversion. And while One-Eye acts like he's never seen fire before, Chris drives the trooper's truck into him like he's never seen a product of decades of inbreeding before. Chris then accidentally lights Sawtooth on fire and then purposely stabs him with some sort of wrench. Chris then stops killing hillbillies long enough to start helping Jessie get untied, but Sawtooth isn't done slaying city boys yet. So he throws Chris across the room, because incest only makes your genetics superior. How do you guys think Superman got so strong? It's because his mom was also his sister. And as Sawtooth prepares to crush Chris with his super incest strength, Jessie nails him in the back of the head with his own bow and arrows. And as Sawtooth falls down, Three Fingers pops up. Apparently he was just hanging out in the other room waiting for his opportunity to surprise everyone. And after a scuffle, Chris chokes him while Jessie puts an axe into his chest. But wait, the three Killbillies then start reaching out at the two City Slickers because they just won't die. They've got some sort of incestuous immortality or something. So Chris and Jessie, having only one shot left in their stolen gun, shoot the gas can on the trooper's truck to blow up the house. And then they drive off into the sunset with the Killbillies truck. Now we can count Sawtooth and One-Eye officially on the list as kills 8 and 9. But Three Fingers ain't dead yet, and this trooper who came to check out the recently burned down Hillbilly Hell House LLC becomes number 10 in our meat bank. So now, to find out, what are your chances of suffering survivor's guilt? This is where we take a look at our main characters and the death that surrounds them to determine what your chances are of surviving this movie. Starting off the deposits of our deceased, we have Richie and Haley as our first two, followed by Evan and Francine to make 4. Then Scott and Carly at 5 and 6. I'm noticing a pattern here. These Killbillies like to kill couples. So anyway, to break that flow, we then have the trooper that they kill, that's number 7, followed by Killbilly Sawtooth and One-Eye at 8 and 9. And then rounding out the carcass collection with our curious little cop in the mid-credits stinger, which gives us a total of 10 bodies altogether. Sure, that number doesn't seem all that high for a gaggle of inbred cannibals, but try fitting 10 bodies in the trunk of your car. So now, let's take a look at our survivors. We've got the unhelpful attendant that played just big enough a role for me to count, and Chris and Jessie, and then there's Three Finger, making 4 survivors altogether. So that means that out of a total of 14 characters, only 4 survive, giving you a 28.6% chance of surviving this movie. With those odds, which of the 3 Killbillies would smother out the flame of your life? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're down there, go ahead and hit that like button, and then also subscribe, so that you don't miss out on the rest of the Wrong Turn sequels. And now, for the It Chapter 2 digital copy giveaway. So, assigning all of the entrants a number, or 2 or 3 depending on how many people they brought to the channel, and using a random number generator, it looks like Lady Spookaria is the winner. Alright lady, I will send you a DM with the code for that movie. And to everyone who participated, thank you so much for watching and sharing, and maybe you'll win the next one. Alright guys, as always, thanks.
Hey creepy kids, it's Hurricane. If you want to keep up to date with what I'm doing, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So if you have any friends, family, or demonic entities who would enjoy this channel, let them know. Well, that's all from me. Take care, and good nightmares.
Hello, internet fans. Do you want to learn about horror movies that you never knew existed? Do you miss the video store but not the late fees? Then join us at 3B Video, where we talk about stuff like this, and this, and this. If you'll excuse me, I've got some videotapes to return. You like Huey Lewis in the news?
Make sure you hit subscribe.
Whatever, I really don't care.